$400 billion sort of, twist policy, Operation Twist. I call it Operation, Great Depression too. But, of the Fed basically buying $400 billion, of longer-term maturities. What are you doing there? You're just sort of like pushing the problem into the future. You're not solving anything. You're not deleveraging these derivatives. You're not saying to banks that they have to really mark their books at where they're at, and if that means they look insolvent, so be it. They need to be destroyed or they need to fail in a proper way. None of that is happening. Because none of that is happening, and because instead there is continued money and bailout funds and debt being thrown at this problem rather than determining a solution from the bottom up for this problem, it will continue to grow. And so what I see, and I wish I didn't, is that there's no opposition to this. Even if banks, the larger banks, were to be allowed to fail, which they are not, it would create a knock-on effect, and then there would have to be some strong decisions from people.
So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
But here's the thing: all of this could still be stopped, and it could have been in 2008. We could have said, you know what, J.P. Morgan Chase, you're not allowed to have Bear Stearns. You know what, Bank of America, who was completely insolvent and was facing all sorts of settlement cases, all sorts of fraud. You can't have Merrill Lynch. All of this should have done. Back then it wasn't. It can still be done now. These banks can be made more transparent and smaller so that we can see what we are dealing with rather than propping it up with money and money and money being printed, with our currency being devalued, with debt being accumulated. Okay,
I understand there's ways to extricate ourselves. The problem is the bankers have put their people in the command positions in the Republican and Democratic parties. The only person that will talk about the elephant in the room is Ron Paul. He gets demonized and attacked. They're clearly not changing course. So where are we going in closing?
So we're going to continue to get worse. I mean, we had a Great Depression that lasted for 7-8 years globally in the 30s, and that's what I'm writing about in my fiction book in Black Tuesday. But it's going to continue now because it's a deeper problem now. There were more derivatives, there were more fraud, there's more money being printed to subsidize it. I think this is going to last longer.
Tell us about Black Tuesday, the new book. This is your first fiction book, but it's also based in reality, kind of a history or near future type book. And I know sometimes a fiction based on reality can get more attention than even, I guess, the last couple of best-selling New York Times best-selling books that you've written that are nonfiction.
Yeah, and I thought that way there could be a human face to it. Actually, someone very kindly suggested the book was my way of putting a human face on Goldvar's The Crash in 1929 book, and that wasn't really my intent. It was a nice compliment. But basically the idea is that, it's about a woman, it's about a family, it's about sort of this oppression of, a struggling working class and a struggling middle class at the time, and how bankers literally, take this entitlement and kind of tell themselves that it's okay, it's just one bad signature here, it's one bad fraudulent deal there, and it grows and grows and grows. And the villain in my book is actually Jack Morgan, who, it's not the exact story of how he did it, but I can imagine certain things probably did happen in a way, is that there were some really fraudulent deals back then that J.P. Morgan Chase, which was then just Morgan Bank, did that really helped cause the 1929 crash and unleash the Great Depression. There were bankers then shorting their own banks while they were using their customers' money to prop up the market to suck in more investors at the last moment before 6 to 8 months later it all fell apart on them in the middle of the Great Depression. So what I'm just showing is the human side of that. I'm following a woman who gets involved, who doesn't want to be a hero, who doesn't set out to be a hero, and is very flawed in very many ways, but who sees it for what it is, and takes great personal struggle to really bring it to people's attention. And there's a lot of problems, and there's a love triangle and everything else that happens in fiction. But the idea is that one unlikely person might not make a tremendous difference, but when called to the occasion, can step up, and that's really sort of the background, and it takes place in 1929, which is very, very similar to what's going on right now.
Now the book is coming out any second now, right?
Yeah, it's out on Amazon right now, and it's in the iBook store right now. So it is out electronically now. You can get it right now, and then in terms of stores, hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. So the future is now. So now with digital, it's out in the stores the next few weeks, and the book is Black Tuesday. Nomi Prince, thank you so much for spending time with us, and I look forward to having you back on as we chart what's happening, and hopefully the people like you out there exposing these dastardly creatures, we're going to be able to bring them to justice and reverse the course of this corrupt system before we're all brought to rack and ruin.
Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes InfoWars Nightly News. I'm going to go out there and shoot a video that we're going to post on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com tonight that is a call to action to protest the Federal Reserve itself. The actual, real criminal banksters. Not capitalism's bad and all of Wall Street and 30,000 companies are evil. Now, I had the Dallas Morning News and other publications contact us today, and they're saying, so you're doing a nationwide thing at Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. No. I am simply putting out the idea that, hey, instead of just going to your financial district and griping at Wall Street, which has a lot of good companies on it that hire Americans and others, why not go to the big 6 mega banks masquerading as the Federal Reserve? They're the ones that actually set all this up that Nomi Prince just covered. How about we actually go after the real problem? It's the Federal Reserve running George Soros and Buffett and others to get more bailout money. They want the austerity. They want to raise taxes, cut your benefits so more money can be paid to them. They're the ones using the European Union to fully destroy all sovereignty in Europe right now, holding them hostage. We just talked to a Goldman Sachs insider agreeing with my analysis. This is happening. So please get the word out to your Facebook, your Twitter, your MySpace, everywhere. Call your friends and family. Tell them that we are going to start out occupying the Dallas Federal Reserve and the sidewalk around it this Friday. I will arrive after the radio show at 6 p.m., and I'll speak for about 2 hours. Then I will get in my RV. I will drive to the Federal Reserve. The big branch for Region 11 is in Dallas, but its sub-reserve, it's an even bigger building, is in Houston and San Antonio. I'll be in Houston high noon on Saturday, and then I'll be 10 a.m. to noon or so with people there at the San Antonio Federal Reserve. Now, no matter where you are, you're a majority of one. Get your friends, your family, your neighbors, go down, demonstrate, call the media, let them know you're going. Go down and demonstrate at your Federal Reserve, especially if you're around one of the big 12 ones or one of their substations. And let them know that you're aware of what they're doing. Now, with the Dallas situation, I've got to do the nightly news. I've got to, as a general here who goes out on the front lines, but I've also got to be here in our command center and try to research all this, get it together. I've got to do the radio show. I've got to do the nightly news. And so what I'm going to do is if people do occupy the Dallas Fed, and if they stay there, and you can stay one day and then others will arrive. We'll be talking about it on air. If they arrive on Sunday with your sleeping bags or whatever. If we keep that thing occupied for a week or so, it will become a big national story. And Sunday, I'm going to go to Dallas Friday. I'm going to turn around and go down to Houston. Then Saturday. Then Sunday, I'll be in San Antonio. Then I'm going to go back to Austin, regroup, do the 2-hour radio show, 4 to 6 p.m. Central. And then if the occupation works, and who knows, it might spring up in San Francisco. It might pop up at the Fed out in Lincoln, Nebraska. It might pop up at the one at Kansas City. It might be the one at St. Louis. It might be the one in Richmond. It might be, okay, wherever it happens, I will either get on a plane or get on our new InfoWars RV, and I will drive to that location and broadcast from there. Okay? So I don't expect the place where I go is where this is going to happen. But wherever you're at, be part of history, face down the real tyrants. Don't let the globalists come in with their counter-revolution, their false counter-revolution of communist. And people calling to raise taxes on the middle class and transfer the money to bankers. Don't let them speak for you. The American people aren't just going to occupy Wall Street and attack capitalism. We're going to go after the crony capitalists who are the opposite of capitalists, the opposite of free market, the monopoly men. So the big one to be at, we're going to Houston and San Antonio because we know there's groups down there. We want to point out this is at every Federal Reserve location. But the big one, the one we're going after, and I had this in my gut when I said yesterday on air, I said, should we occupy the Dallas, the San Antonio, or the Houston? And last time I checked, 80+% in the poll. In fact, guys, I know we're at the end of the show, but pull up Infowars.com Go to the bottom right-hand corner, and there's the poll. Show people the poll over here on the camera, and then click it. It was like 80% this morning when I looked, of 3,000 votes or something total, want us to occupy the Dallas Fed. So, all over the country, I'll go there to kick it off. Then I will race around stirring up other people like Paul Revere, literally in the bus. Yeah, there it is, close to 3,000 votes, and it's 78%. It was like 80 this morning. So close to 3,000 votes, 78% want the Dallas Federal Reserve, Houston branch of Dallas Fed, San Antonio branch of Dallas Fed. You can see that you got 2,314 want Dallas, 473 or 16% want Houston, and H-Town, and for S-Town, great town, by the way, my second favorite city in Texas after Austin. We're going to be down there, and that's only 175 votes want that, or 6%. And we're going to close that poll out soon because I'm going to have Aaron put it in our press release. We need your help. We need your help to get out to all of these events. And we need your help to get our press release, our articles about it, the video I'm going to shoot about it, this video as well. Get it out to everybody. Okay? Regardless of what you think, liberal, conservative, black, white, old, young, Hispanic, Asian, turquoise, purple, green, polka dotted, if you want freedom, these are the tyrants. There's no doubting that. Union people, non-union, it doesn't matter. Everybody isn't welcome. Everybody is essential. Everybody is absolutely commanded by liberty and the essential survival of our republic to be there. And of course, everybody is welcome, but that's a side issue. You are commanded by conscience and basic common sense to be there Friday, 6 o'clock, and that's where everybody needs to go. If you're in Houston, you've got to go to work on Saturday or Sunday, or got kids, come out with them to the Houston event. Or if you're in San Antonio or other areas that can't come to the Dallas event, come to San Antonio. But if you can, and you're in any of the states around Texas, no excuse, Friday, 6 o'clock. And if you can't make it then, come the next day. You know, whenever we stormed the Texas Capitol 2 separate times and almost defeated the TSA bill. And notice the resistance now is causing them to start to back off. The White House is talking about abolishing it. There's major heat, there's lawsuits. You will notice that I would go down there for about 2 hours at 4, 5, 6 o'clock. I'd leave. And then even bigger crowds came after and went into the rotunda and took over and shouted them down. That's what's going to happen here. All of you are just as important or more important than I am. I don't want you standing beside me. I want you standing in front of me. You are the leaders. I don't want you just standing behind me or beside me. I want you to stand in front. All of you are leaders. Don't just see yourselves as behind me or beside me. We've got to all stand together or hang separate. You are the leaders. We can beat these people. Their crimes are so outrageous. They're so ridiculous that if we just expose them, and we've got demands, I've covered those demands. We want the Federal Reserve abolished. We want the power of the purse transferred back to Congress. We want U.S. money to be created debt-free under the sovereignty of the nation, not backed up by the taxes of the people. It's just a symbol of commerce, not the fiat creation that gives the globalists control of the whole planet. We want to see the banksters, for all their frauds, investigated, charged, and convicted, and imprisoned. And I covered all that on the radio. We're going after the New World Order. We want our republic back. We want 1776 worldwide. That's it for InfoWars Nightly News. Now the rest is up to you, Info Warriors. You need to be there and be part of history. We are going to occupy the Federal Reserve in Dallas and hopefully spur a movement that will spark political brush fires all over the United States. We will see you there Friday. And already I'm seeing other groups saying they're going to occupy the Federal Reserve now. And a lot of the Occupy Wall Street folks are going, yeah, it's the Federal Reserve. And Dallas Morning News called me about a Dallas group that's doing it. There's a bunch of exciting things happening. And we're going to do this together. Don't wish later you would have been part of this. Also, you support this alternative media beacon of liberty and freedom when you subscribe to prisonplanet.tv. You can also subscribe at InfoWarsNews.com. All my films, my book, Paul Watson's book, my daily radio/TV show, this nightly news show that so much energy and work goes into, with the incredible reports on the checkpoints, the fluoride, the vaccines. I mean, it's just amazing. The breaking news here, everything we do. All of my films in super high quality, expanded extras, 8.5 years up and running. We're just adding more and more features. You are funding the 2011 version of the Pamphleteers and the Sons of Liberty in the lead up to 1776. You are funding this 21st century version of John Adams, of Samuel Adams, with his beer money financing pamphlets. You are all Samuel Adams today. All of us together, the Info Warriors, are walking in the footsteps of Sam Adams, and all of you that are members are standing right beside us, behind us, and in front of us.